Number 4 on this list happened in 40 million American living rooms every single Friday night from 1971 until cable television ended it. One decision by one network executive changed what Friday night meant in this country permanently. Number 2 required your father to leave work on time, your mother to plan 3 days in advance, and every member of the family to agree on one thing. That agreement, that shared decision, that moment of alignment is something most American families today never have. And number 1 was not an activity, it was a ritual. It ended not because people stopped wanting it, but because the economy made it impossible to afford. 6 Friday nights, 1 year, 1973. Subscribe now, because we're just getting started on the America worth remembering.
Your father backed the station wagon in. You crawled into the back with the blankets and pillows your mother had packed before dinner. The speaker hung on the window. The popcorn cost 50 cents at the concession stand, which was the most exciting building you had ever been in. The drive-in theater was invented in 1933 in New Jersey. By 1958, there were more than 4,000 of them in the United States. At its peak, the drive-in was the defining leisure institution of the American working class. You didn't need nice clothes. You didn't need a babysitter. You didn't need to tell the children to sit still. The back seat was their room.
What almost no one remembers. Drive-in theaters were destroyed not by television, but by real estate. The land under a drive-in in 1975 was worth more as a shopping mall than as a theater. The owners sold. By 1990, more than 3,000 had closed. Today, there are fewer than 300 left in the entire country. We didn't choose to give up Friday night at the drive-in. Someone sold the land out from under us. Your father's ball was in a bag in the front closet. Green and black swirl, his name engraved on the side. He bowled every Friday night with the same 4 men he worked with. The bowling league in 1973 was not about bowling. It was about a regular, structured, predictable event that gave a working man something to look forward to at the end of every week. The same people, the same lane, the same shoes from the same rack, the same terrible food from the same counter. The consistency was the point. At its peak in 1964, more than 8 million Americans belonged to sanctioned bowling leagues. By 2010, that number had fallen by more than 40%. The lanes are still open, the leagues are gone. A researcher named Robert Putnam wrote a book about this in 2000. He called it Bowling Alone. He argued that the collapse of institutions like the bowling league was destroying American social life. Nobody listened. The leagues kept closing. 8 o'clock on a Friday in 1973. Every person in the family in their place. Dad in the chair, Mom on the couch, the kids on the floor. The Odd Couple at 8. The Brady Bunch at 8:30. Room 222 at 9. The network television lineup of the early 1970s was a shared national schedule. If The Odd Couple was on, it was on for everyone. 40 million people watched the same episode at the same time. They talked about it on Saturday morning. They quoted it at work on Monday. Before we go any further, I want to ask you something. One Friday night show just came back to you. Not the show itself, the feeling of watching it. Who was in the room? Tell me in the comments. The show, the room, one person. I read every single one. In 1975, ABC moved Happy Days to Tuesday. Laverne and Shirley followed. The Friday lineup shifted, and then cable arrived, and the shared schedule ended forever. There is no show today watched by 40 million people simultaneously. There is no show today that every American knows. We didn't lose television. We lost the room we watched it in. The Howard Johnsons on Route 9, or the Perkins, or the local place with the pie case by the door. Your family's regular booth, the one by the window. The waitress who knew your order. In 1973, eating out on a Friday was not ordinary. It was the event that marked the end of the week. Your mother didn't cook. Your father paid the check without looking at it. The children were expected to order from the menu themselves and talk to the waitress like a person. Howard Johnson's operated 1,000 restaurants at its peak in the 1970s. It was the largest restaurant chain in America. More Americans ate at Howard Johnson's in 1972 than at McDonald's and Burger King combined. The menu had 28 flavors of ice cream. Your mother always ordered the same one. You always tried a different one. The last Howard Johnson's restaurant in the United States closed in 2022. A 130-year-old company, gone in a lease renewal decision. Risk on the kitchen table, or Monopoly, or Clue. The board opened up after dinner. Nobody watched television. The game went until 10, sometimes 11. Children were allowed to stay up. That was the deal. A board game in 1973 required something that no digital game has ever required. It required everyone to be in the same room, looking at the same board, making decisions that affected everyone else at the table. You could not mute someone. You could not log off. You were present or you were not playing. Hasbro's board game sales peaked in 1984. They have declined in every decade since. The games still exist. The Friday night ritual around them was replaced not by better games, but by separate screens in separate rooms. 6 o'clock. The whole family. Nobody late. Nobody eating in their room. Whatever your mother had made, the table set properly, grace said by whoever was asked, the news from everyone's week. The family dinner in 1973 was not a wellness practice. It was just what you did. In 1960, more than 90% of American families ate dinner together 5 or more nights per week. Today, that number is below 30%. The table is still in the house. Most families eat in shifts now. The food arrives from somewhere else. Nobody made it. The meal has no beginning and no end. A Friday night family dinner in 1973 took your mother 2 hours to prepare. It lasted 40 minutes at the table. In those 40 minutes, a family reported to each other. They verified that everyone was still there. They ate the same food in the same room at the same time. We gave that up for convenience. The convenience was real. What we traded it for was also real. We just don't always talk about what it caused. Which one of these Fridays do you remember? The drive-in, the diner, the board game at the kitchen table? Tell me in the comments. The Friday, the detail, the one thing you can still smell or hear. I read every single one. Subscribe, because there is a lot more of this country left to remember. One more is right here. The rest are in the playlist below. See you in the next one.